with questions. Does anyone have anything that they would like to ask? Sorry to put whoever, the first person up on the spot.
Hi, I do have a question.
Okay.
So what is the process for signing up for a research opportunity?
That's a great question. And one we get oftentimes from our incoming students, because there are a lot of you at WashU that are interested in research, and we encourage that. What we like to say is that anyone who's interested, we encourage everyone to get their feet wet with their classes in the first semester. And as you start feeling more comfortable and confident with what maybe you would be interested in research wise, then to use that opportunity to talk to peers that are already doing that, to talk to your professors for a class that you're in that is maybe what you're interested in, and to reach out to those faculty members. Our website is a great resource for getting started. We have an entire Getting Started tab that kind of goes through the flow of how we would start the research process in terms of how you would go about it. So usually in this first year, while it can be the case that you would want to get started with research right away, depending on the discipline, I guess what I'm trying to say is, depending on your area of interest, it may dictate when you would get started in research. So for example, in some of the natural sciences, you may talk to a professor and they would be ready and willing to get you into a lab right away and to get going, and then you just feel it out as you get through your classes. And there's other areas like in social sciences and humanities where they may ask you to fulfill some of the introductory base courses and have that baseline foundational understanding of what it is before they would feel ready to have you engaging in research in that area. So this year is obviously a little different given what's going on with COVID and the fact that there's so much going on virtually. That said, there is new guidelines that have been put out where all students are able to participate in research if interested. So it will just be about getting in touch with the faculty of what you're interested in and getting an idea of what the expectations are and what their approval levels are right now. That said, we also have a virtual undergraduate research symposium coming up later this fall, and it's going to be to really highlight getting started in research for, especially students like you all that are moving in that direction, just coming into WashU and getting an understanding of it. Historically, it's been an actual physical event, but given that we can't have large scale in-person events right now, we are hosting it virtually. So more details will come throughout the semester, and we'll be sure to share them. You'll get emails and you'll also see it on our website. So we encourage you to check in often. But I think that'll be a great resource for everyone as you get an idea of what you might want to, how you might want to start getting into research. I don't know, Amber, is there anything you felt like you need to add to that?
I'm here too, in case you were.
Hi, Joy. This is Joy Kiefer. This is the Director of Undergraduate Research. She came from her other meeting.
That's true. Hello, everyone. It's so nice to see 93 of you here. Just about like what we would do if we were on campus, except we're not on October, right? So it's really nice to see all of you here. Welcome to WashU, and we're very excited about helping you launch your career here at Washington University. We're in a exceptional situation, but there's still a lot of wonderful opportunities for you to have a look at. But also, I think one of the most important things that I would add to what Lindsay said is this idea that as a first year student, Oftentimes we're just really recommending that you spend the time getting your feet wet in the courses, and not to worry that you may have somehow missed the boat if you don't start doing research right away. Research is something that will emerge as you engage in your disciplines, and you have research questions that you really want to answer. And so, you know, really taking this first semester to kind of learn how to be a college student, to study in depth, to manage that, using our website to kind of explore your interests, also to explore different faculty who might be out there that you might be interested in eventually working with at some point. These are all really good strategies to continue moving forward with the aspiration of conducting research without putting, you know, research into your schedule or feeling like I need to do this now or I'm going to somehow miss the boat. There's so many different timelines. There's so many different opportunities. And so really letting your own academic interests guide you is the best way to you know, get started anyway. So not to worry, we're at 80% research capacity. That does limit some of the things that we can do right now. You know, all the students who are interested in engaging in research, if there are opportunities, either remote, if you're here in person, those in-person opportunities might be a little more limited, but the faculty are willing to see the different ways that they can incorporate undergraduates into their research plans right now. So, you know, all of us being sort of like generous and patient as we try to move towards a more open, full capacity of levels of research being conducted on the campus is good strategy. So there's nothing to be concerned about in terms of, oh my gosh, I'm not going to be able to do this or whatnot. You will. It's just, you know, now you're kind of even more maybe willing to take the semester to kind of research what your interests might really be and who you might work with. So, how do you guys want to do this? Do you want to have people raise?
Yeah, we had them raise their hand feature. I think, Maeve, did you mean to unraise your hand? I don't mean to put you on the spot. Or did you still have a question, or was it answered?
About what the reduced capacity was, so that was answered.
Oh, perfect. Okay. Yes, we had asked to raise your hand feature, and that was our second, I had noticed, and the first question was great. Anybody else have some questions?
Yeah, I have a question. So is there like a mailing list for the Office of Undergraduate Research so we can get like updated on different opportunities?
We don't have a mailing list, but we really maintain our ur.wustl.edu website. It's a very active and up-to-date website. We have some opportunities that get posted there, but all our news and information, our COVID FAQs, all the information about ways to get started, to our funding and award programs, ways to publish, are all on the website. And then if you look at that and you still have questions, then you can access my appointment calendar. You can come to my Dean of the Day walk-in hours on Fridays between 2:30 and 5. So, you know, very available to you to answer questions as you kind of peruse the resources on our website. The thing that you should understand is that there's no centralized repository of opportunities because we are a very decentralized institution, right? And so on our website, under the Getting Started tab, we have a little process, a foolproof process, I like to call it, that allows you to kind of figure out where could you find research mentors, because undergraduate research is by definition faculty mentored, right? So once you kind of know what your area of interest is and the discipline that you want to study in, then the next step really is finding a faculty research mentor to work with. And so we give advice and guidance on how to find those folks, where to find those folks. And then we have a whole little system that we outline for you on, how to make contact with them, how to schedule times to talk with them, what kinds of questions to even ask, and then how to follow up. And so if you do that system with about 3 to 7 people, depending on the discipline, I've been doing this job for a really long time, and I haven't met anyone yet who's not been able to find someone to work with, right? So that doesn't mean that you wouldn't get a no here and there, like no, I don't work with undergrads, or no, I don't have any work right now. But it does mean, and I think in this environment, no just means next, right? It's like, okay, on to the next one. Not to think that you've done something wrong or been inappropriate, just means no, on to the next person that you could possibly want to work with. So that's, that's really the system. And so I think oftentimes we hear our students say things like, wow, is it really just as easy as sending an email? I just send emails to people? And we say, well, yeah, it really is that easy. You could work with a Nobel laureate by sending an email, right? And, using our system to make that email a professional outreach so that you can schedule, maybe a Zoom call that you could talk to the person, how to kind of be able to get yourself prepared to talk to the person in an informed way, to ask for, what sorts of opportunities might be available, how you might help, I think is a good question in this environment, is to say to folks, I understand that we're, in a challenging time and research capacity is lowered, and I'm really just interested in helping, right? Is there anything that you would like me to do? I think this is that's a really great approach in this time. And also to understand that if they say, well, not at this time, that maybe you're able to, check it back in with them in the spring semester to see, hopefully we'll be back to normal, maybe to some kind of normal in the spring semester, whenever we do switch back to full capacity research. So it's not centralized, but our website is your gateway to all things undergrad research, and we point you to how to find folks to work with.
I also will add to that, since just in regard to emails and mailing lists, for events such as our undergraduate research symposium and other networking opportunities that we have, that our office facilitates, we send emails to all the students through the WashU email system. So you will hear about if your other, the other flip side to what you were asking, we will be sending emails out, so you won't miss that event. And like Joy said, it is a gateway for everything though otherwise. So it will be listed on the website with those details in addition to getting an email about the events that we're hosting. Maeve, do you have a question?
Oh, yeah. Are there paid research opportunities, or are they all for credit hours, or how does that work generally?
There's lots of different arrangements. You could research for credit, and if you were researching for credit, the thing you should know is that our office is not a credit granting body. We are a funding office for summer research. during the school year, you could research for credit. The credit usually comes through a department. So if you're interested in doing biological research, the bio department has its own research for credit course that you can find on their website, and actually links to it from our website. If you're interested in anthropology research, anthropology has a research for credit course that you would sign up for, and then you would be mentored by a faculty mentor on a project that would be the number of hours for so many units. Usually you need to research for about 8 to 10 hours for 3 units of credit. Some departments offer less than 8 hours for 2 units of credit. Just depends on the department and the arrangement that they allow with students. So it's very department specific, which is why, encouraging you to kind of think through, well, what kind of academic discipline and department do I think I'm most interested in as a good first step, because that really then guides a lot of the ways in which you can engage in research. So credit payment could happen, say the faculty mentor has a grant that allows them to hire undergraduate research assistants. And so they could hire you directly as a research assistant and pay you from their grant, for example. Or perhaps their department has money to hire you as a research assistant. Or sometimes departments will hire you if you're federal work study eligible. So you could have your federal work study award applied to do undergraduate research. So there's lots of different arrangements. Credit or pay is available. What you would need to do first is to kind of connect with the faculty person. And once you kind of decide, this is what's available, here's the menu of options that this person and their department has, and then this is what would work best for me. That would be an appropriate conversation.
Thank you.
Joey, we have a few questions in our chat. So is that,
Sure.
Remember the 3 of us, we can answer a few of these real quick. Alicia had asked, how do students become involved in the Weidenbaum Center?
So the Weidenbaum Center is, I believe, through Econ. So just really talking to the faculty who are associated with that particular research center and getting connected with one of those faculty is the best way to do that. Like I said, undergraduate research is faculty mentored, right? So you have to connect with a faculty person first before you do any kind of undergraduate research. So I would go to the Weidenbaum Center website. I would see who are the faculty who are associated with them. And I would use our system on the Getting Started, Finding a Research Mentor tab to make an email introduction of myself, talk about my interests, and then see if they would be willing to schedule a Zoom call meeting with me to kind of see what the opportunities could be. There might be even in that discipline, there could be remote research opportunities where you wouldn't need to be in person even, that you could engage in some kind of research. And if it's too much right now, which I think it might be a bit much for a first semester student, and if you have no experience, to engage in kind of an in-depth research project with a faculty person, then maybe there are things that you could do that could get you up to speed, and then you could schedule it in as research for credit in next year even. So look at their website, reach out to the faculty have conversations, see what's there.
Yes, and especially on their website, I believe that a lot of times centers like that will have they'll have research opportunities, or if there's any programs. So if they're not listed on our website through the different types of disciplines, which you can find if you're looking at different areas of interest, but also on their website, a lot of times if they had open opportunities or any sort of programs, that those would be listed as well that you can look into. Okay, next question. What would you recommend we put down as experience or credentials when reaching out to faculty for research opportunities? Maybe prior courses we've taken or AP exams as examples were part of the question.
So no experience is necessary to engage in undergraduate research. You don't have to be an expert in the field. You don't need to, have been doing research since you were, in diapers. There's no experience is needed. Now, I think on a resume, if you're going to send a resume, I think it is good maybe to not your AP scores, but maybe ways in which you have demonstrated that you're responsible and reliable. So if you've had jobs, maybe if there are things that you did in high school that you really cared about, that you showed up consistently for, that might be something you can go to remotely to our career center, and they will help. If you don't have a resume, they'll help you craft one that could really highlight ways in which you've been responsible and reliable, if that's something that you want to do. You also don't necessarily need to attach a resume when you're first reaching out to somebody. I think the thing that's most important to emphasize is your interest in their research questions. So really following our guidance on the website that encourages you to read articles that they have produced, or read the bios and maybe see what other information comes out of that faculty person's research, so that you can speak clearly. You don't need to understand everything, but you can speak clearly about what your interests are. I think interest and excitement for somebody's questions is the most important thing when seeking undergrad research opportunities. That will outweigh, your AP scores, for example. Do you have a genuine interest in our questions? And are you responsible and reliable? So are you going to show up when you say you're going to show up? Those are the kinds of things I think that when speaking with faculty about possible opportunities are important to communicate. So that email that you send should read like a little cover letter, right? So if you're not going to attach a resume, then it should read like a little cover. Who are you? I'm interested in your questions. I read whatever, and would you be willing to schedule a time to talk with me about possible opportunities? I think is good strategy.
Okay. Well, here I'm gonna ask one that I can answer. So the question was, in your experience, is it possible or typical for undergraduates to get their research published in professional journals?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So I wanted to specifically answer that because I am the editor of 2 publications that our office actually produces, where one is called the WashU Undergraduate Research Digest Word, and it's a compilation of abstracts from the students who present at our fall and spring symposia. So they're compiled from both the fall and the spring of an academic year, and put together alongside several feature articles by student authors. So those are selected. You have the opportunity to submit to be selected as a feature article author, and then that is reviewed by a group of students called a peer review board, which is comprised of several other WashU undergraduates, peers of different disciplines. So we like to have interdisciplinary work, students that are doing interdisciplinary work be able to review the writing and the articles, and then we put that together and it's published. In fact, we are in the process of printing our 2019-2020 edition, which will be available in hard copy and then also via the WashU Library's Open Scholarship portal, and you should have access to that with your WUSTL keys, your WUSTL ID keys, to be able to look through past editions. And since I'm talking about it, that's another great way to see what kind of work other undergraduates are doing right now, and it really just runs the gamut and all the types of research students are doing. And another great reason to come and to participate in some way in the symposium by being able to talk to your peers, or somehow be able to evaluate and review like what your peers are doing to kind of jumpstart your mind about what you might want to do and what you might want to engage in. And the second publication we publish ourselves is called WUSTA by short, but it's a senior honors thesis abstract book publication, and that is comprised of students who are graduating with Latin honors. So we work hand in hand with the departments of the students who are graduating with Latin honors in that area to publish their abstracts. So those are just two opportunities through our office. We also list on our website other peer institutions and other national institutions around the United States, and that also allow students to publish. We also have seen, depending on who you're working with your mentor, they always have great insight as to maybe giving you ideas of where you might want to submit to be considered for publication as well. So depending on your discipline, there'd be other opportunities that might not even be on our website. So yes, the answer is yes in shorthand, and I just got really excited to answer it. So thank you for asking. And WUSTA is also, so both of our books are available in hard copy and through the Open Scholarship electronically. So definitely you should pop onto the Open Scholarship portal on WashU Libraries to look at those past editions to kind of get an idea of what they look like and what student work is, past and current student work is going on. Oh, and somebody just asked, can you get involved with the peer review group? Yes, and I'm the person you would come to. So maybe send an email. You can find me on our website, because my last name's somewhat long, or since you can see my name, it's Alpanovich at wustl.edu. But we do every year, I usually pair new incoming peer review members with those who have reviewed in the past, so that can work together collaboratively and really have another level of just that peer-to-peer interaction. So that's exciting to be interested in that. Okay, I'll ask a question that someone else might want to answer, or I can, I guess, as well. But okay, would you recommend conducting research during the school year or summer?
Well, I think it just depends on, what it is that you're trying to accomplish. I think there are wonderful summer opportunities to engage in research full time. That's why I think summer is a good time, because we have funding programs that allow you to do undergraduate research full time without taking a class, without dividing your attention, so that you can really dig deeply in your discipline and in a particular project. Then, you can continue doing those things over the school year if it's something that you really get going and get some traction on and that you really want to continue. So it really just depends on you, what your arrangements are, you know, what your time is, and where you want to, you know, give of your time in that kind of commitment. I think, you know, doing research in the summer is a great opportunity if you're really interested in research. I think everyone should make a plan at some time to engage in summer research, just because it's a great way to really dig deeply in an undivided attention kind of way around questions that you really care about. Amber, do you want to maybe talk about the U-Star summer program? Because I think that's a really great opportunity for first year students at the end of first year going into their sophomore year. It's one of the only programs that caters really to those students. So Amber in our office is their coordinator. She can talk a little bit about them.
Yeah, so I'm the coordinator for the Mark U-Star Summer Scholars Program, which is for students that are historically underrepresented in the sciences. It's run with Dr. Jim Skeeth, who is at the medical school, and it's a really great way to build relationships with students that share scientific interests and who maybe aren't normally connected to each other in day-to-day life. And so it's run through the summer. There's a summer stipend, and typically we provide housing, which we did not this past summer, owing to COVID, but it's a great way to connect with others who, again, are underrepresented and to build a sense of community.
I think there was a few other students that had popped on since we first started. So just, some of you have already seen this, but I'm gonna put some virtual instructions here, drop them into the chat, and just so everyone knows, if you want to use the raise your hand feature, we would still, feel free to keep your cameras on so we can see your lovely faces. And if for some reason the raise your hand feature doesn't work, we can answer some questions in the chat, which some people have been able to do both. So just thought, I've seen quite a few people join us since we first started at 2. So thought I could give a little reminder.
And also, if your questions are answered, you don't have to stay here the whole hour. You can pop into other open houses as well. We will take no offense if you pop out either. So do feel free to move into other places if your questions have been answered.
Yeah. Here's a quick question that, in general, how much of a time commitment will a typical research opportunity be? You sort of answered that, Joy, with regard to, was it for credit?
Yeah, it really just, again, it's a very individualized experience. So that it really just depends on what it is you're trying to accomplish, right? If you were interested in devoting, time for credits, then you're looking about, 8 to 10 hours a week for 3 units of credit. If you're interested in, just working maybe for pay, it might be as much as that. I do think about 8 hours a week during the school year is an important kind of marker. If you're trying to make progress on something, you do need to kind of schedule it in like it's a class, so that it's not an afterthought, so that you can, get the time in that you might need to put into, either doing experiments or doing library research or doing the different mode of inquiry depending on the discipline. So I like to kind of think about it like at that 8 to 10 hour week for 3 units of credit is a good kind of marker. And then from there, you can do more or less kind of depending on what your goals are.
Here's a question that's specific to the ongoing with the restrictions with COVID. Given the guidance on labs not accepting new undergrads while campus is at orange alert level, will freshmen likely be able to conduct research at any point this semester. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, well, if you look at that, guidance was changed last week. So if you look at our website, the most up-to-date information about undergraduates conducting research is there, linked on the homepage under Get Information or something like that.
It's in our main bubble on the homepage where it says "Be informed," and it leads you to a whole FAQ, as Joy mentioned, of information specific to questions that you might have related to changes that have had to be made due to COVID-19. And it also provides links to the university COVID page as well, which I'm sure you might already be familiar with, but also to the research specific guidelines for the whole university as well. And like Joy mentioned, there was new information that came out August 30th that actually does allow for gives the opportunity to all undergraduates. And that's where I mentioned, and I know some of you have popped on since we first chatted, since I first mentioned this, but that's why we encourage you to get in touch with, once you do get your feet wet, as Joy mentioned, and really try to get a feel for what you might be interested. And that next step would be reaching out to faculty members. And at that point, I think it would be relevant to inquire whether or not they're taking on students, and they can give you that guidance on whether or not they're able to put it into their plans, because I think that would be part of the approval process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not that you can't conduct research as an undergrad with no experience anymore. That was updated, like Lindsay said, on the 31st last week. It's that you need to be integrated into the faculty person's research plan that is then approved at the departmental level. So the only way for you to move forward is to reach out to faculty mentors, potential faculty mentors, see what the options are, and then go from there. And then the faculty person could navigate the approval process at their departmental level. Once they said, yes, we have room for you to be a part of our research plan, we're gonna update it and send it on for departmental approval. The faculty mentor would be the person that would be mediating that whole process, right? So just as in 100% research normal times, you connect with the faculty person first. During this time, connecting with the faculty person first is still the right step, and then seeing what your options are from there.
All right. There was also a question about, will there be research positions open for work study this year?
Yes, we are very happy to hear that they changed the guidance on the 31st. So allowing undergraduates to come back into research positions, provided the plan had been accepted by the department and approved. So that means that work study positions should be there as well. Prior to the 31st, there was no wiggle room for anyone to do research as an undergraduate without prior experience. And so since that changed, that has opened the door for folks to include work study in their research plans as well.
And I feel like I want to add to all of the research that we're mentioning that changed on August 30th. That is with regard to in-person research. Research that is from remote research, I apologize. That has been ongoing since WashU itself had went remote and virtual in the spring we actually, our office facilitated more than 70 remote research opportunities over the summer. We were able to continue our summer research award programs for students who were able to make that shift from in-person to remote research. So that has and will continue to also be available to students.
Yes, thank you, Lindsay. That's a very important
I know, I just
as well, right? Reaching out to faculty if you're not here on campus to see if there are remote research opportunities for you to help. I think also a really good strategy during this time.
Yeah. Okay, this is a great question that someone asked. Are you able to do research across different schools? I love getting that question.
Do you want to answer that question?
Sure, I can, but feel free to chime in because you have a way with words that sometimes I don't. So yes, we greatly encourage students to think creatively and to create your opportunities that research that engages you and that can span across different disciplines. And we see that often, and it's something that I take pleasure in seeing, because it's really feels like it's tailored to what your own personal desires are, and how that kind of translates into research. So yes, that's very it's encouraged. And I'm sorry, Joy, I'll let you chime in a little.
No, I think that's really great. It is exciting because I think maybe one of the reasons why you came to Washington University was one of the things that I often hear, I used to hear on those admissions tours, and I'm sure they do still say this virtually, that, one of the hallmarks of WashU's education is its flexibility across the schools, right? So in a lot of other institutions, you wouldn't be able to engage outside of your own school, but here you can. And so you can take courses in other schools, and you can also engage in research in other schools. Couple of, I think, my favorite examples. We had a student who was in engineering who was really interested in human-centered design, and was taking a lot of anthropology classes, and ended up doing a research project with an anthropology instructor, where he went to study Brazilian favelas, and he received an undergraduate research award to spend the summer in Brazil, and then ended up writing a thesis and all of these wonderful things from that experience. So I think that's a great example of a sort of a cross-disciplinary research experience. I love this. Two faculty mentors once were talking about the story of one was doing robotics, a robotics professor, and one was a dance professor. And they had a mutual student, a student who was doing the dance movement class, and a student who was he was also in the professor's robotics class. And he said to the two instructors, he introduced them, because he was like, you guys should really talk, because you're doing very similar things. And that informed a collaboration that he participated with. So, those are just some of the ones that pop to my mind when I think this is why you can see we love these kinds of projects so much, because they're the student, oftentimes the students are the ones who can see the connections, because you're like pollinators, right? You're over there and in anthropology, you're in design, you're in dance, you're in robotics, and you're like, oh, this is how these things can connect. And making those connections, and then being able to you know, pursue an intersection of two disciplines, I think is a really fun and exciting way to engage in inquiry.
There is a question if the students will be able to access the recording for this lecture. And so we are recording it, and that is something that we can post on the website. So you can reference back to if you know, something comes to your mind after the session and you want to look back for reference. So absolutely, we can look into that.
Yes, and I think most of these sessions, from our understanding, are being recorded during today's events. So the college office may be posting them on the main website as well. So it'll definitely be available in some capacity, maybe in multiple locations.
Okay. We have a few minutes left.
Oh, here's somebody asked one. Is it possible or a good idea to do research with the med school during the school year?
Well, it is, I do believe it's possible. I think it's, you know, it's the same, it's the same answer that we've been giving. It's absolutely possible if the research mentor can make it possible for you, right? If a research mentor's plans can be easily adapted to include you in a safe, socially distanced way, then they can incorporate you with no experience into their research lab at the med school. If they just, you know, can't, then I always say, rather than just, you know, saying, okay, no, not right now, COVID, right? Then always kind of staying open to the idea, like, okay, well, if there's anything else I can do to help, maybe even remotely, things that you would encourage me to read so that I could reach out to you again, possibly in the spring semester, and see if there are opportunities for me to join you then, because I'm really interested in your questions. I think that's absolutely doable. And you should do that anyway, right? Whether or not we're in a pandemic or not, that's just a good way to kind of keep the lines of communication open, keep the possibilities open as you, you know, try to make the best of a challenging situation.
Well, I know we still have a few more minutes. I'll just reiterate as we wind down, just to say everything we've talked about is, in addition to the recording we mentioned that will be posted somewhere, we also have so much information and insight on our website, as Joy mentioned earlier. So there's, to get the Getting Started tab is like the sweet spot for you all in particular, I feel. And then in addition, you can kind of peruse through what type of research opportunities are here at WashU and what, in terms of funding and programs that our office facilitates and that are within WashU, and some that are highlighted that are outside of WashU. And also, as most of you heard me chat about all the publications, you can also check out and read a little bit more about the publications I mentioned and other opportunities to share through peer institutions and other peer journals. So just a lot of cool information on there to help you kind of get an idea of what research is like here at WashU.
Thanks, Lindsay. That's that really great reiteration too. I always say at the end of these sorts of things, if you forget everything that we said, remember ur.wustel.edu. And you know, write that down right now, ur.wustel.edu. you know, navigate to it right now. Bookmark it, visit it often, so that you can stay in the know and you can access the resources. And then if you have any questions, as you could see, we're a very friendly bunch. We love to talk to students. You can access my appointment calendar right there on the home page. You can access my walk-in hours every week right there from the home page. So, you know, don't hesitate to reach out because we want to help.
And I think we had a follow-up question. If we are considering graduating with honors, is there anything we should consider doing to keep the doors open this and next semester?
So if you're a first year student and you're thinking about graduating with honors, then you have a ways to go yet. You know, oftentimes this is about, you know, engaging in your discipline in such a way that by the time you get to the junior year, you have a burning question that you want to answer, right? I think, so keeping the doors open in that way is like, keep the doors open in your mind in terms of, you know, what sorts of things would interest you. And not to have sort of this preconceived notion that only these things interest me and I close my mind to everything else. Just like stay open to the being surprised that, you know, when you learn something in a class, you'd be like, oh my gosh, that's a thing. I didn't know that was a thing. And now I really want to figure out what that is, right? I think keeping your mind open to those opportunities to be surprised about something that excites you, really important. You know, oftentimes an honors thesis is a culminating project based on, you know, your prior year's engagement in that particular major, right? So if you're sitting there and you're saying to yourself, well, I don't even know what I want to major in, right? Then that's okay. I would call you developmentally appropriate. You have 3 semesters before you need to choose a major, and you have 3 semesters to explore what things excite you, what disciplines make you go, wow, this is really interesting. I want to know more. And then by the junior year, being connected with faculty in that discipline that can help guide your inquiry process and guide you towards, you know, some kind of thesis or honors project. You know, oftentimes the summer between the junior and senior year is a great time to take advantage of an undergraduate research award so that you could get a jump start on that research for your senior thesis in the senior year. So junior and senior year are really important for pursuing things like an honors thesis. So laying the groundwork for that, I think is what I would encourage you to do, and stay open to being surprised by disciplines that you may not even know that you're interested in because you never took a class there.
Awesome. Thanks, Joy.
Yeah, well, I think we're at our time. So we wish you well. Enjoy the rest of your orientation. We hope you learned something that was helpful. If you have any remaining questions, don't hesitate to reach out.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Bye.